1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of crowd. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to race 8 of the F1 Tonight season. And we are here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. And my goodness, I'm just looking out of the window here and I can see rain. So we're in Q1. We do have rain. We will be jumping straight to Q2 as we have a number of drivers short this evening due to race bans and prior commitments. So we will not have Ruud Window from Williams racing this evening. We will not have Jerome Portma for Toro Rosso, Marco Pullen for Sauber, nor will we have Seb Bogart for Ferrari. So Ferrari down to just the one car, and that is Bas de Breen. Bas currently second in the championship on 88 points. Seb currently ahead on 125, so if he was going to take a break, I guess now would be the time to do so. And no Ruben Bowman for Red Bull either, as he is facing a race ban this week. We will have Damie Hartman for Haas hopefully coming in, but he will be coming in at the end of qualification. So he will be second from last, as last place will be taken by Sander Hermans, who is the new driver for Mercedes, making his inaugural race with F1 tonight this evening. So we're just waiting for the drivers to jump out. So bear with us and we will see how things go from here. Too sure what the delay is at this moment in time. But we are looking at a wet qualification round. So we've got some drivers coming out now, and that's Sander Hermans. He will be disqualifying himself. So as he comes and crosses the white line, a few little zigzags there to make sure that he definitely disqualifies himself. Quick little trip into the barrier. I think he might even try to go the wrong way down the track just to ensure that he does disqualified himself. So let's watch the fun and games while he tries to do a three-point turn in his F1 Mercedes. Would have failed there because he actually went over the curb and onto the grass. So there he goes in the opposite direction just to make sure. Yes, disqualified for the session for going the wrong way. What a fool, honestly. First race and he does that. Well, for those of you that are watching, that was actually done on purpose because Sander will be starting at the back of the pack for his first race, so purposely disqualifying himself on that one. And Nicky Visser just coming out of the pits now. So not too sure if some of the drivers are just going to try and get a little bit of a feel for the track before we jump to Q2. So we do have 15 runs and riders. Currently 14 on the track. Damie Hartman for Haas will be coming in, but he will be joining the session at the end of qualification and will be taking up, as I say, that position 14 on the grid. So we're riding on board with Nicky Visser at this moment in time for Sauber. And Nicky Visser, has a great season so far, the Sauber driver, currently sitting fourth in the Drivers' Championship with 76 points, so he's only 12 points. Bas de Breen, who is racing this evening in second place, so I'm sure Bas will be looking and watching his mirrors if Nicky isn't already ahead of him. He's performed very well during the season, but obviously we are looking at wet qualification. I believe that the race will be dry, so that's going to make for interesting setup for the guys, because obviously what they're going to be looking to do is get their position on their qualification, but obviously under wet conditions makes it difficult, so they will have to do something with their setup, but then that could well compromise them on the dry for the actual race itself. So interesting little problem there for them. So see how that actually pans out for the drivers. Guido Airshine also out on track at the moment. Ryan Dronig, the remaining Williams driver. Ruud Window, his teammate, not racing this evening. Then we have Miguel Torni for Force India. Martin Parder Cooper for Red Bull, his teammate Ruben Bowman not racing this evening. Mark Stappers here for McLaren. John Dunkel for Force India. Peter Phillips still in the pits. Basta Breen for Ferrari out on track at this moment in time. Marcel Dronig still in the pits. Boyo Willemsen for Stan Drumkov, who's the number 2 Mercedes driver, new driver to F1 this season. So his first race he'll have with his teammate. So that should be interesting to see how they actually perform there. So Sander, first race of the season. Then we have Marcel France, he's currently in the pits. And that's it. So everyone's just getting a little bit of a run out. Obviously they are on the intermediates. Basta Breen at this moment in time putting in the fastest lap with a 1:14.8. Nicky Visser 1:15.0, so only a couple of tenths off the back of him. Martin Parder Cooper 1:15.8, so a full second. And Nicky Visser goes ahead of Basta Breen 1:14.5. It takes 3 tenths out of the Ferrari driver. John Donkel 1:17, Mark Stappers 1:20. So while we're watching the guys get a little bit of a feel for the track, and let's run with Mark Stappers here. Come think about the track, obviously the track itself did have 2 DRS zones formerly, so that was after turn 10 going down to turn 1, so from before the start finish line across that to before turn 1, and then the second one, or effectively that was the second one, the first one would be after turn 3 going down to turn 4. The addition of another DRS zone has been after turn 1, so that starts parallel with the pit exit after turn 1 and takes us down to the 100-metre board before turn 3. So officially that is the first DRS zone. The second DRS zone is then after turn 3 leading down to turn 4, and the final DRS zone is after turn 10 leading down to turn 1. So 3 DRS zones. This is a fast track. A few awkward corners, certainly, turns 1 and 3, but they're not too bad. The tricky one is turn 4. Got to watch it when you come into that, because you've got a very hard right, and then as you come around turn 4 you go into turn 5, which is that right, and then turn 6 goes left. But tricky turn 4, but a great opportunity for overtaking. So do watch that during the course of the race. Also turn 7, rather tricky as you're coming out of turn 6 down towards turn 7. Got to watch that rumble strip on the right hand side, all too easy to run over that and then find yourself off the track before you get down into turn 7. And then the other interesting one is turn 9 and 10. Quite a high speed turn. You think it isn't, but you can take that at pretty high speed if you line it up right and hit the apexes right, and equally in turn 10. So it is a fast track, so we do expect some superb times and some great racing, especially with those 3 DRS points. Let's not forget 3 DRS points, and they run through sector 1 and sector 2. So the drivers getting a little bit of feel. They've obviously decided to stay out on track. So So let's run. So sector 1 takes us obviously from the start-finish line to just after turn 2. Sector 2 then takes us from the same position down to the midway point between turns 6 and 7, and then sector 3 is from that point then down to the start finish line. So as I say, 2 DRS zones in sector 1 effectively, 1 in sector 2. So certainly going to be very, very fast indeed. As I say, we are looking at wet conditions for the full queues, so Q1, 2 and 3. However, we are, I believe, looking at a dry race. So it's certainly going to mix things up without any doubt at all. Let's quickly run through the championship here for F1. Remember, we're in our 2018 season 4. Although we are racing with the 2018 version of the game, previous seasons 1 to 3 in the 2017. So this is race 8 of season 4, but we are racing with 2018 edition. And so far, it's been a fantastic championship. We've seen some excellent fighting, some superb racing. But Ferrari, again, pretty much heading up the board. Seb Bogart currently in first place with on the Drivers' Championship with 125 points. His teammate second, Bastabreen, with 88 points. And Ferrari are at 213 points in the Constructors' Championship. However, that said, Demi Hartmann from Haas is third in the Drivers' Championship on 76 points. Nicky Visser, as I mentioned earlier, for Sauber, he's fourth with 62 points. And Boy Williamson, the second Haas driver, is fifth with 51. How does that work out for Haas? Well, Haas find themselves second in the Constructors' Championship, 127 points. So roughly 90 points short of Ferrari, but in a secure position there. Sauber currently running third with 92 points in the Constructors, and indeed that is a reflection, I think, of Nicky Visser's season so far. His teammate is currently in 10th, but has been performing well and improving, certainly. Unfortunately, not racing tonight, but we will see how that goes. Ruben Bowman, well, we know Ruben was the season 3 winner, and he certainly took it convincingly, very convincingly indeed. But he didn't really have a great start to the season, missed out the first few races. Races he did compete in, unfortunately DNF'd, but then last week, fantastic race for him, and great result, picked up some very, very valuable points indeed, and now finds himself in 7th place in the championship. Unfortunately will not be competing this evening due to a race ban, but still very much in the fight there. Guido Erschein for Renault is currently 6th in the Drivers' Championship with 44 points, and his teammate is down in 12th with 27 points. John Donkel for Force India is currently 8th in the championship. Mark Stappers for McLaren is 9. Marco Pullen, as I mentioned, for Sauber is 10. Martin Parder Cooper is 11. Marcel Dronig, as I said, is 12. Ryan Dronig is 13. Ruud Window, his teammate for Williams, is 14. Jerome Portmer and Marcel France for Toro Rosso are both 15 and 16 respectively. Miguel Tourney, teammate to John Donkel for Force India, is 17th. Peter Phillips for McLaren is 18. Stan Jumkov and obviously Zander Hermans, the new Mercedes drivers, are 19 and 20 respectively. Zander obviously hasn't actually had any points yet, but Stan Jumkov has. He's already picked up 4 points in his previous race. So that's where we are with the Drivers' Championship. And as we can see, obviously, at this moment in time, yes, Seb does have quite a convincing lead, but Bass is going to be fighting it out, and I'm sure he will, with both Demi Hartmann and Nicky Visser. So, important race for both the Sauber and the Haas drivers, as well indeed as the Ferrari driver of Bastabreen. So, it's going to be very interesting indeed to see how that pans out during the course of this race. But I can see that it's actually starting to dry up on this queue. Now, I was told by our weather people that we would be looking at wet qualification, but we've got 3 minutes to go on this Q1, and it has stopped raining, so the track is starting to dry up somewhat. Let's have a look, see if anyone's going to decide to come out. No, at this moment in time, everyone's pretty happy with their setups. So I would suspect that we're probably going to be jumping to Q2. As I said, we were going to skip Q1, but clearly the drivers felt that they just needed a little bit of practice before going into full qualification. So we will be starting very shortly indeed. Interesting there, Nicky's put in a 1:13.7. Still on those intermediates. Is he? Let's have a quick look there. Yeah, they're all still on intermediates. So Nicky said a 1:13.7. Boy Williamson, a 1:13.9. Ryan Dronig, 1:14.3. But Basta Breen, 1:14.4. So if we pan that out into the race, okay, we are only on Q1. But it means that the Ferrari driver will be on the back foot to start with, so he's really got quite a challenge here for himself at this moment in time. Guido Erschein currently 6th with a 1:15.0. Stan Drumkov 1:15.1. John Donkel 1:15.2. Big teammate to Guido 1:15.4, so 4/10 off his teammate. Marcel France for Toro Rosso, currently 10 with a 1:15.4. The two McLarens, Peter Phillips, Mark Stappers, sitting 11 and 12 in this queue, 1:15.6 and 1:16.3. So clearly the driver's just getting a feel for the course, whilst they're actually out on track. For those of you watching on YouTube, hope that you're enjoying the broadcast. For those of you watching on Mixer, I would recommend that you can stay here, or you can go onto the YouTube cast. Just a few little graphic additions on the YouTube cast, but if you are in Mixer, then please do bear in mind, unfortunately, as commentating, directing, don't have time to actually check through the chat. We are hoping to change that as time goes on, but it is people reliant, and at this moment I am flying solo. But if there's anybody watching that would be interested in taking part in the production of these broadcasts every Thursday evening, so F1 Tonight, we're here every Thursday evening from 7:30 Greenwich Mean Time and 8:30 Central European Time. So if anyone's out there watching or listening, I know that we do have a few viewers. Please do comment either on Mixer or on YouTube, because we will pick those up. And if anyone would like to assist with the production, I'm certainly would be very interested in looking at a second commentator to assist myself. But anyone that would like to take part and help out, you would be more than welcome, and sure, we could put you to good use. So Q1 is indeed over. And we will be going to Q2. Remember, we have 14 drivers at this moment. We will have 15 drivers for the races. Danny Hartman will be joining us. But quick look there, we saw Nicky Visser setting the fastest time with 1:13.7. Boy Williamson for Haas, 1:13.9. Ryan Dronig for Williams, 1:14.3. And Bas de Breen, 1:14.4. Martin Paardenkoper for Red Bull was a 1:14.9. And Guido Ehrschein, 1:15.0. So here you are. This is F1 tonight. This is race 8 of our 2018 season, and we are here in Austria at the Red Bull Ring. Q2 is just started, and this is going to be the one that is going to really put the cat amongst the pigeons. So this is effectively the decider that we have. And immediately we can see that Martin Paardenkoper there for Red Bull is the first car out. So quite a long pit entry and pit exit onto this. And we may have Marco Pullen coming on racing, but he clearly won't take part in the qualifications, but could well take part in the race. That would be fantastic if so. And he'd be starting at the back of the grid. But we will see how that actually progresses. So we're with Martin Paardenkoper. He's currently on his outlap. So we'll follow him on his outlap. And what we'll do then on his actual fast lap, we'll go in car, and then we can just talk through the corners, the DRS activation points and also detection points. So he's just coming round now down to that turn 9 before the final turn 10. So let's go on board with him now. So there's your DRS. That's your third DRS point over the start finish line. Turns up to turn 1, deactivation, round turn 1, hard right. Then we have the second DRS point there, activation. Round turn 2, and on the 100-yard board, just here, stop. Round turn 3, hard right up here. You've got to watch it on the power here. Then you've got the second DRS. That'll take us down to turn 4. Remember when I was talking about turn 4, you've got to go in tight on the left-hand side and then hit that curb on the right, ideally. Using second gear, you can do it in third, but obviously he's just taking it easy. Round to turn 5. Then we've got turn 6, left-hander, start to go downhill. Watch your exit, don't go too far over to the right onto that rubber strip, hit the green, you go off. Round turn 7, left-hander, high speed into turn 8, counter camber, racing down to turn 9. You've got to be careful here because that is also the pit entry, so you've got to be tricky. Turn 10, final turn, DRS, and over the start-finish line. And Martin Paardenkoper set to 1:08.4, so you can clearly see the difference there with regards to the grip and the speed. So we were looking at about another 6 or 7 seconds on that, and probably for some of the faster drivers, once they get going and get familiar with the track, get rubber down, we're probably going to be looking at around about 8 to 10 second gap between the wet weather and the dry weather. Guido Ehrschein takes the provisional lead in this Q2 with a 1:07.2. Nicky Visser, 1:07.5, only 3/10 off. Marcel France, Toro Rosso, 1:07.7. He is on the ultra soft, as is Guido Ehrschein. Interestingly enough, Nicky Visser is actually on the super soft. Damie Hartman is in, so great job there. Damie, weren't too sure if he's going to make it in quality. He is, so Damie Hartman is in, and he set a 1:08.0. Bas de Breen now set the mark, 1:07.1 on a set of super softs. Boy Williamson, second Haas driver, 1:08.2, so both Hasses pretty close to each other. Martin Paardenkoper, who we were just following round on the ultra softs, 1:08.4. Marcel Dronig for Renault, 1:08.4. And Guido Ehrschein has moved up now, moved up to second place provisionally. We're on 1:07.2, but now both, or everyone's been beaten by Marcel France, 1:06.5. So clearly the track is starting to warm up. We do still have, it seems, on my graphics, Marcel Dronig in intermediates. Please do ignore on there. As you can see, he is indeed actually on the ultra softs. So Nicky Visser now set the fastest lap, 106.4. So great result there for the Sauber driver. And as I said, this queue is going to be very interesting indeed. So we're going to see these times, I'm sure, dropping even more. We've got 10 minutes to go of this Q2. And at this moment in time, Ryan Dronig, Mark Stappers, John Donkel, Peter Phillips and Stan Drumkov still to set times. We're just riding around with Nicky Visser now. Nicky's had a great season so far. Showed a lot of promise, certainly in season 3 when he came to F1 Tonight, but really has delivered this season and has really set a great benchmark for Sauber. Equally, his teammate Marco Pullen didn't have a great season last year, but this season is certainly panning out better. He hasn't been superly consistent, but he has had some good races and is undoubtedly improving and showing his capability. Certainly feel that he's getting his mojo back. Interestingly enough, with all these times, he's actually dropped down to provisional P7. He's currently in the pits on was on set of super soft, so could well be looking to set a fast time. Nicky Visser was on a set of super soft, but he has set the fastest time. Marcel France on ultra softs for Toro Rosso there, 106.5. Miguel Torni on ultra softs for Force India, 106.6. Guido Airshine again ultra softs for Renault, 106.6. Stan, where are we? Just seeing who that was there. So, yep, Sander Hermans, new to this race, 106.6. Not too sure what he's doing there, because he should effectively disqualify himself, but still, we'll see what happens. Basta Breen, as I say, still in the pits. Damie Hartman in the pits. Marcel Dronig in the pits. Martin Parder Cooper. Peter Phillips for McLaren, just out on track. His teammate Mark Stappers has just come out of the pits behind him. So let's watch Peter Phillips. We don't get to watch the McLarens all too often, unfortunately, because, well, during the course of the race, we obviously look to watch the action. Not to say they don't have any, because they certainly do, but not having the best of seasons so far. But I expect a lot. I mean, they're good, two solid drivers, Peter Phillips and Mark Stappers. So we're hoping that they will start to deliver a bit more. You can see him running on out of turn 6 down to 7. You've got to be so careful there, because that can throw you right off the track. It's quite a rough rumble strip there on that right hand side. And we see turn 9, you really hit that apex, and you've got to be so careful again, because you might have people coming into the pits. So quick bit of information there from race control. Sander was indeed due to disqualify himself. Unfortunately, the game did not disqualify him from all the quali sessions, so he will indeed be taking part in the qualifying sessions. So I'm sure that Sander will be looking to show his worth with regard to that. So it'll be interesting to see how this Mercedes driver performs in this inaugural race. A great track, certainly, to start on. So here he comes over the line there, and does not unfortunately improve on his time. So he's currently down in P-top. We will be losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers. So 11 to 15 will be dropped, leaving the final 10 in the drop zone at this moment in time. With a 107.1 is Bas de Breen for Ferrari. He is out on an ultra soft. He is currently on his out lap. So let's ride with him now as it comes around turn 9, down to turn 10. So we'll go on board for this. So critical that Bass improves on his time. Ryan Dronik said a 105.8, Miguel Torni a 105.9, Stan Drumkov 105.9. So certainly is achievable. So let's see what this Ferrari driver can deliver. He certainly needs to improve on his time. Currently sitting P13 in this Q2. He's only got just over 4 minutes left, so that should equate through probably 2, maybe 3 laps. So he can't hang about, certainly. So just coming round to turn 6 now. 7, got to be so careful, they can really throw you off, and he just doesn't seem to be flowing too well at this moment in time. So down to 9, hit that apex, critical, and on 10 as well. Let's see what he can do. Oh, look at that, 105.8. Oh ye of little faith. I wasn't putting a lot of faith in that, but look at that, straight into P1 and Q2 with a 105.852. So he's only a hundredth off Ryan Dronig in the Williams with a 105.8, but he has secured his place certainly into Q3, so he can pretty much rest easy on that. What does that mean for the guys in the drop zone? Well, 106.4 Martin Parder Cooper at this moment in time, 106.4 also for Nicky Visser. So I would say what these guys need to do is really certainly want to get sub that, but I would be aiming for the 106, 106.2. So that's what we're looking for. Yellow flag there in sector 3. So in the drop zone at this moment in time, we have Marcel France for Toro Rosso. He's currently in the pits. Guido Airshine for Renault. He's out track. Oh, look at that. Sander Hermans there. Straight into the barrier. DNF. So Sander is out. And that is what I was talking about earlier. When you're coming around that turn, if you put down the power too early as you're coming around or out exiting turn 3, it's just going to spin the car and you're going to go straight into that barrier, and that's exactly what we saw Sander Hermans do there. So Sander Hermans will be this Q2. Guido Airshine at this moment in time, struggling for the grip. It comes around turn 9 now. Nicely done, into 10. Very twitchy though, these cars, so I'm not too sure what's happening on there. And moves up to first place with a 105.7. My goodness me, what a fantastic result there. I'm sure he's going to be very... So Nicky Visser is now in the drop zone. We've just got under 2 minutes for these guys to deliver. And let's see what Nicky Visser can do now as he comes up to turn 9. Dives, oh, misses that apex. Looks like the car's sliding a bit, round 10. What can Nicky Visser pull out the bag here? He needs to improve, and look at that, goes into first as well with a 105.73. So 500ths faster than Guido Airshine. So this really is interesting because clearly the track is just warming up, but we're at the end effectively of this queue. So what does that mean? Well, Sander Hermans is out, Peter Phillips, he's out as well. I think he's pretty much resigned himself that he'd be out. So in the drop zone, Boy Williamson for Haas, Marcel Dronig, he's currently in the pits, and Marcel France. So I don't know if Marcel Dronig, he's not going to be able to come out, so Marcel Dronig will be dropped for Renault, so he's out of Q2. So that leaves Boy Williamson and Marcel France. What can they do? Boy Williamson coming round now. He needs to knock, well, he only needs to knock 700, but ideally, well, just to seal the deal. Boy Williamson does not improve on his time. He's got one more run left. Let's see, what about Marcel France coming around turn 9 now? Oh, sorry, it wasn't turn 9. That was turn 4. Coming up to 5, round 6. So let's watch Marcel France. This is definitely his last opportunity, and he needs to take at least 3 to 4 tenths out of his time if he stands any chance at all of not being dropped from this queue. As he comes approaching the line now, what can he do? Oh, look at that, fastest again, 105.2. So clearly this track is really starting to heat up now. But we are at the end of qualification, so I'm sure there's going to be a few drivers there that are going to be shaking their heads in disbelief, but that is the way it goes. So who do we have out on track at this moment in time? Let's have a quick look. Well, nobody that can do anything. The only one that can is Damie Hartman, and Damie's come into the pits. So Damie will be taking 11th place on the grid. Does give him the choice of tyre from the start, as will all the other drivers that have been dropped. So Damie Hartman will be 11, Martin Paardenkoper for Red Bull will be 12, Marcel Dronig for Renault will be 13, Sander Hermans, the new driver for Mercedes, will be P14, and Peter Phillips for McLaren will be 15. But look at these times here: 105, 105, 105, 105, 105, 105. So the top 8 drivers there, all in the 105s. But the fastest driver for this queue was Marcel France. Fantastic result for the Toro Rosso driver. That's who we're running with now. Nicky Visser in the Sauber, great show from him. Guido Airshine as well for Renault, and Bas de Breen down in 4. Wow, this is very interesting indeed, because how is this going to actually pan out for the race itself? I mean, could we see Bas de Breen losing that 2nd place in the championship? Who knows? Certainly I can assure you that he's going to be fighting for it. But there we have it. That is Q2. So Marcel France, fastest driver, 105.2 in the drop zone. Damie Hartman for Haas, Martin Paardenkoper for Red Bull, Marcel Dronig for Renault, Sander Hermans for Mercedes, and Peter Phillips for McLaren. So we're going to be going through to Q3, the final queue, to decide the top 10 positions for the starting grid for this F1 tonight. Race 8 of 2018 here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. We had a wet start to Q1, dried up a little bit. We've had a dry Q2, and the track has been warming up and delivering faster and faster times. We've seen some 105s, quite a number of 105s. So could we see sub 105? Could we see 104s? Could we even see possibly a 103? Who knows? But we will find out certainly in the next 12 minutes. Q3 is underway, and we're waiting for the first driver to go out, and that is Ryan Dronig in the Williams. So we'll stay with Ryan on his out lap and for his qualification lap as well, and see how he performs. New driver to F1 tonight, and for those of you that may not be aware, son of Renault driver Marcel Dronig, but really has shown some great driving skills and some close driving skills as well. We've seen him go wheel to wheel on a number of occasions, and certainly very determined driver. good quality. Hasn't quite got the full experience yet, but let me tell you, for an opening season, he's done very well indeed, and would certainly expect to see him progress through the championship for following seasons. Equally, I've got to say, for his teammate as well, Ruud Window. Now, Ruud unfortunately isn't racing this evening due to prior commitments, but I would say that both the Williams drivers have performed very well indeed. And indeed, Ruud Window has put in some excellent racing, has had a little bit of misfortune in a number of races, but certainly has delivered. And again, expect a lot from him, certainly for the following seasons once they got themselves bedded down. So Ryan Dronig now on his fast lap, and let's ride on board as he comes down around turn 4. Right hand of 5 now to that left of 6. Watch it, going tight here. Don't go too wide out there. Don't want to hit those rough. That's nicely done there. Hit the curb here on 7 and again on 8. Ride that curb into 9. And watch the apex on the right. You're going to hit and ride that apex. Not quite. So didn't have the full speed there. Does on 10. And goes 1:06.4. So nice opening lap there from the Williams driver. John Donkel, Force India, takes a 1:05.7. Boyd Williamson, Haas, 1:05.4. Marcel France now coming over. Let's see what Marcel can do. Torosso was fastest in Q2. Ooh. Hasn't been able to do it. Stan Drumkov, Mercedes. Just coming down to turn 9 now. Nicely done. Hits apex. You can see so much smoother, a lot more power down. Stan Drumkov goes second, 1:05.5. Okay, let's go with Guido Airshine for Renault now. You don't want to put too much power down. As you saw Stan Drumkov in Q2, spun out straight into the barrier. Down to turn 4 now, hit that apex. Nicely done, open it up. Round 5. Left into 6, tight in on the left-hand side, let it ride to the right. Watch the rumble strip. Left-hand turn 7, hit that barrier. And again on 8, hit on the right. Line up for turn 9 now. Remember, turn 9 will brake, hit that apex on the right hand side for full speed. See, not quite there, and you can see the effect it has. You can see that he's not carrying the speed that he could. Show there from Guido Airshine for Renault, 1:05.6, puts him in provisional P6 on the 3rd row. Nicky Visser and Bas de Breen, Sauber and Ferrari drivers respectively, not out yet. So Boyd Williamson has taken the fastest so far with a 1:05.4, and that looks like that's Nicky Visser coming out now. So we'll ride with Nicky Visser. Clearly, as I say, Nicky's had overall, I think he's had a very good season so far. So clearly slowing down. Let Ryan Dronig there past him. He was on a fast lap. And you can see the car I was talking about on that turn 3. You start to lay down the power. You've got to be so smooth on there, because if you lay it down too much, bang, you're off the track, and that barrier is very close to hand. It is obviously quite a wide track, a lot of runoff. You can see a lot of gravel to slow the cars down, but on that particular turn 3, it's really very difficult. If you do spin out, and you can see one of the drivers going off there, I think that may have been Guido Airshine. Comes over the line. There's now starting his fast lap. Let's see what Nicky can do. We know that he can deliver on this track, but we've seen a number of the other drivers as well putting in some fantastic times. We've seen 105s. We're still looking at the mid 105s. Hopefully we will see a high 104, but we will see a little bit wide on turn 3 there. So he comes down to 4. Let's watch him round here now. Nicely done, pinning that apex. Little bit of flutter there as he's coming out round turn 5 now, into 6, 7. Some of these cars here just not looking too easy. So clearly they're going for low downforce, high speed, but it is making the cars a little bit twitchy. So what can Nicky do? He goes respectable, takes a 105.6, takes up P5. I don't think he's going to be happy with that. I think he will be looking to go somewhat quicker. We've got just under 5 minutes from this Q3. This is F1 tonight. This is race 8 of the season. We are racing with 2018 F1 from Codemasters on the Xbox. And it has been a fantastic championship as always. But this is certainly going to be an interesting race. We don't have our current race or championship leader, Seb Bogart for Ferrari. He's not racing this evening, but his teammate Bas de Breen is. He's currently 2nd in the championship, but nipping at his heels indeed is the of Damie Hartman, but equally Nicky Visser, Damie Hartman only 12 points off the back of Bas de Breen, and Nicky Visser, he's only 26 points off the back. So he's performed well in all the races, been more or less on podium for all the races as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that actually pans out. So at this moment in time, Boy Williamson for Haas is provisional pole sitter. Alongside him, Stan Drunkov, the Mercedes driver, new to F1 tonight. Only done, I think, 3 races, this being his 3rd. So good performance from him. Mark Stappers, great driver from McLaren, as I say. Hasn't had the best of seasons, McLaren, but Mark Stappers certainly performing very well in that McLaren at this moment in time. Provisional P3, so 2nd row. Alongside him, Marcel France for Toro Rosso. So you can see a real spin round on what you might normally be looking for on those front 2 rows. So real mix. We've got Haas, Williams, McLaren, Toro Rosso. Nicky Visser currently in the 3rd row, and he's actually been taking John Donkel. John Donkel for Force India takes provisional pole to 105.3. Nicky Visser just coming out on track again. Guido Erschein, row for, oh, who was that? That was John Donkel there, going into the wall. Or was it his teammate? No, it was his teammate. Yeah, Miguel Torni. Again, overcooked it. Unfortunately, didn't get too much damage, but I'm sure he's going to have front wing damage to that vehicle. Just trying to see if I can get a view where I can see the front of that car, but I'm sure, yes, he's taking it very gingerly. He's clearly picked up front wing damage, if he has a front wing at all. Yeah, we can see there on the front left, lost all the little winglets there, so he's going to nurse it back into the pits. Clearly, Miguel Torni overcooked it on turn 3. Ryan Dronig in the pits. Bas de Breen in the pits and hasn't set a time yet, and there's still a minute and a half to go. Well, I don't know what's going on there, because at this rate he's not going to be able to set a time. He's got a few seconds to get out on that track if he's going to do anything, or is he just going to happily sit there in P10? I'm really not too sure what's going on here. Very unusual. Bas de Breen nowhere to be seen. I was a poet and I didn't know it. So he's in the pits. He's not going to be coming out. So Bastabreen will be starting in P10. So not too sure what the issue was there. John Dunkel is currently sitting in P1. Boyd Williamson for Haas P2. Guido Airshine has moved up to P3, second row. Stan Drumkov, Mercedes, still in that second row, P4. Mark Stappers, great result from him. He'll be in row 3 at this moment in time. P5, Marcel France, Toro Rosso. Yes, spinning it out again. Turn 3. I can see that is going to be problematic, and certainly during the race as well. And he's not doing himself any favours. He's getting a lot of dirt on his tyres there. So Nicky Visser, he's currently P7. Let's watch him now as he comes over the line. I think this will be a qualifying time. Yes, look at that, 105.0. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. 100th off. So if he'd done it 200ths faster, he would have gone sub 105. But great result there for Nicky Visser, and this has really mixed things up there. Only Guido Airshine, Mark Stappers, Marcel France remaining out on track that can make a difference. But at this moment in time, Nicky Visser has P1. Alongside him will be John Donkel in the Force India. Guido Airshine is currently P4, second row. He's coming down now to turn 9. He's going in the pits. So Guido Airshine happy with that. Mark Stappers in the pit. So that is our final result. So there you have it. Nicky Visser for Sauber takes pole for this Austrian Grand Prix with a fantastic 105.0. John Donkel for Force India, fantastic result for him. He'll be alongside him in P2 with a 105.3. Second row, Boyd Williamson for Haas with a 105.4. Then we have alongside him Guido Airshine for Renault with a 105.47. Third row, Stan Drumkov for Mercedes. Alongside him, Mark Stappers. And just to remind you that Mark races in cockpit view with no assists at all. So it makes it even doubly difficult for him. But this is his opening season. Well, certainly with second season, I believe it is, 1.5, and he is improving all the time, so it's going to be interesting to see what's going to be like in a couple of seasons' time. Marcel France there for Toro Rosso. He is also in row 3, position 7. And let's go through now the final grid positions for these drivers. So there you have it. Nicky Visser takes pole, as I said. Then we have Marcel France. He's in 7, row 3. Row 4, Miguel Torni for Force India. Alongside him, Ryan Dronig for Williams. And 10 will be Bastabreen in the 5th row in the Ferrari. Did not set a qualifying time. So I don't know if he was having connection issues or general issues, or he feels that that is the place to be and avoid the chaos of turns 1 to 3. We will find out, I'm sure, in due course. So it seems that actually the issue there was that Bastabreen dropped out. So what we're looking at is going to be a full lobby restart. So if you bear with us, we will be back underway. So clearly there was a connection issue there which prevented Bastabreen from actually getting out on track, which is why he indeed didn't, or indeed set a time. So we're hoping to resolve that. So do stay tuned, because once we've got that resolved, the race will be underway. So we're not looking at a restart. I've just been informed by race control. So I believe the drivers should already be in. We should be on the formation lap there, if not before. I'm hoping I haven't missed out there because I actually came out of the game. Or out of the... Yep. So we're on the formation lap. There's Nicky Visser. John Donkel in second place, Boy Williamson in third in the Haas, Guido Airshine 4 in the Renault, Stan Drumkov 5, Mark Stappers McLaren 5, Marcel France Toro Rosso 7, Miguel Tourney Force India 8, Ryan Dronig Williams 9, Bas de Breen Ferrari 10, Damie Hartman Haas 11, Martin Parder-Cooper Red Bull 12, Marcel Dronig Renault 13, Sander Hermans first race in the Mercedes 14, Peter Phillips McLaren. And there you have our 15 drivers. Seb Bogart, Ruben Bowman, Jerome Portmer, Ruud Window and Marco Pullen are not competing this evening. So we're just watching the drivers come round now for the start of this formation and getting lined up now for the start of the race. Fantastic result here. This is really going to mix up the championship board, certainly with Ferrari starting down in P10. So drivers getting into position now. Everybody on Ultrasofts apart from Martin Parder-Cooper and John Donkel, so they're clearly looking to go deeper into this race. Peter Phillips coming in now. Five lights are on. And they're off for the start of this F1 tonight. Oh, she's gone for a real slow start there from Guido Airshine. Drops right down to P8. And he's off the track, my God. Guido Airshine straight into... Don't know what happened there. Just went straight... Oh, my goodness. And a huge collision there with the Ferrari on turn one. And a number of other cars as well. Guido Airshine's gone out. Ryan Dronig in that collision. Bas de Breen in that collision. So they've lost quite a number of places there. Marco Pullen, Ruud Window have moved up and not sure what's happening here because this is very odd indeed. Sander Hermans picking up a penalty there. I think it might be a 5-second stop go. So real bad collision there as we were watching Guido Airshine go out. So I don't know if we're going to be looking at a possible restart here. Bas de Breen, he's dropped down to 12. Winners, Sander Herman, he's in 3. Martin Parder-Cooper 2. Peter Phillips, he's moved up to P9. Marcel Dronig, he's moved up to P8. And in the pits, can Stan Dronkov. So not too sure what happened there. Sander Hermans is in the pit as well, so he's going to have to double up. I don't know if Stan's got a 5-second stop go. He's certainly getting a new nose, so real, and you can see all the debris there on turn one. Bass has now moved up to P9. Peter Phillips and McLaren's P8. Miguel Tourney for Force India is 7. P6, Marcel Dronig for Renault. P5, Mark Stappers for McLaren. Marcel France for Toro Rosso is 4. Boy Williamson for Haas is 3. John Donkel remains in 2, as does Nicky Visser. They weren't really affected by that start, but a terrible start there from the Renault driver Guido Airshine. Don't know what happened. Looks like he lost power, and then when he got power, it's just too much. Went straight into the barrier. So very difficult to ascertain what happened there. But looking on the positive side, once he's cooled down and stopped destroying the furniture, we might be able to possibly get him in and assist us. Nicky Visser, second provisional fastest lap with a 109.2. So not too bad at all. And DRS has now been enabled. We are looking at a dry race. So let me see if I can get it to help us out a bit. Don't know whether he'll accept or not, but hopefully he will. So Nicky Visser is in P1. John Dunkel, 1.8 seconds down the road behind him. Boy Williamson, only 0.6 off the Force India. Closing in P3. And indeed, we do have Guido joining us. Guido, not a great start, unfortunately. What happened?
Basically, I was trying to get my clip to go. I couldn't find the button, and after that, I started in the wrong gear, and I got hit from the cars that came behind me. So,
right, yeah, because I saw that you didn't seem to go off the mark. You had a very poor start. That obviously explains that. But once you and that pushed you into the barrier, obviously.
I think it was in the McLaren on the right side who hit me, and then he pushed me off to the left barrier, and that's what I hit.
So we've got a 5-second stop go for Miguel Torni. So that's the Force India driver, and there was quite a bit of chaos as well in after turn 1. So quite a lot of cars came or collided, and a number of them pitted as well. Didn't catch that fully, but I'm just having a quick look at the stops here. So we had a stop from Stan Drumkov, Damie Hartman, Ryan Dronig, Miguel Torni, Martin Parder-Cooper and San. So clearly those 5 cars there were involved in that incident. Seb Bogart also was, sorry, not Seb Bogart, Basta Breen was as well, but he managed to get through. So not a fantastic start, but again, quite a mix on that front row. Nicky Visser obviously taking pole, John Donkel second. So quite interesting from that point of view as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it was good. You know, obviously we're missing a few drivers, sadly, but then you know, everybody steps up. Because
Marcel was just going wide there on turn 2, and he's lost the place to Boy Williamson. So he's now down to 4. But yeah, we're missing a few drivers, as you say. Obviously Sebo, but Seb not too bad. I mean, he's on 125 in the championship. His next nearest rival is his teammate on 88 points, so he's pretty safe there at the moment. But Bass's position in second is looking as if it could possibly be lost tonight. I mean, Damie Hartman down in 10th at this moment in time, so Bass is obviously still, he's Damie Hartman's 10th and Bass is 8th. But if Damie can get ahead of Bass, there's every possibility of him actually taking second place in the championship.
Yeah, obviously in the beginning there were a lot of connection issues. Bass got kicked out, and
yes, because he didn't qualify. Is that why he didn't get out?
Yeah.
Right, so I wasn't wondering what had happened to him.
Yeah, and then in Q3, I think every runner was basically within 1/5ers. So that was an interesting field there. But yeah, now those things happen, and well, it's just as I say, they happen.
The best. Yeah, it's, you know, obviously not great, but I think from the point of view of comparing it to real world, I mean, you know, in real world F1 there are technical issues that do prevent drivers from getting out, problems on the start, etc. So this only reflects that, albeit in a different manner, really.
Yeah. Well, as you say, that is true in some kind of way, but in the end, we decided that if Bas didn't get into the cockpit of the car, we would have restarted the game, because it would have taken the cues, the result of the cues with it, and then well, obviously start as we ended the Q3.
As you're speaking, Bass is actually coming into the pits now.
Yeah, Bas slided on turn 2. I don't know what happened there.
Is he serving? I think he's serving a 5-second stop go by the looks of it. Yeah, he's got a 5-second penalty, so that's why he's come in. He has put a new set of tyres on, and he's gone onto the softs. Now that should take him deeper into the race. We're on lap 7 of 71. The softs should take him round about sort of to the high 30s, maybe low 40s, shouldn't they?
Oof. I have no idea on that one because it's. I haven't had a lot of practice with these tires yet this week. Oh, what was that? Marcel Frans just made a crazy turn there.
Well,
But nervous.
pretty much. I mean, there's nobody that's got. Oh, and Ryan Dronig has DNF'd. Ryan Dronig has gone out. He's DNF'd. I don't know where that was. I'm trying to see if it was. Can't see on the track where he's actually gone out.
It's so difficult with this.
Yeah, and the safety car is out. Safety car is out, so everyone has slowed down in their sectors. I'm just trying to scan through the drivers to see if I can see
that
where
could be a good one
Williams
for Bas.
driver went out.
Because Bas is already serviced up and go. He's already got new tires. And everybody else probably going to get new tires, so I'm going to get him more.
Well, this should bunch everyone up, certainly. I think there's every opportunity. Now, the only disadvantage that Bas will have, obviously, being on the softs, is he won't have the same grip, effectively, of the drivers ahead of him on the ultra soft, but it will assist him to a degree. But again, also the safety car's just stopped in the track there. That's interesting.
That's weird.
So safety car is actually parked up on the track. Nicky Visser taking advantage and coming into the pits now. So Nicky Visser coming in from first place into the pits, as is John Donkel, Boy Williamson, Marcel France.
See what that does for Bas now.
Coming in. So Marcel Dronig now will take first place. So Marcel Dronig in the Renault takes provisional first place. He's on a set of Ultrasofts. They are 8 laps old. How deep can you go on those Ultrasofts, Guido?
15 laps. 20 max.
Oh my goodness! No!
What happened there?
Nicky Visser goes straight into the back of Marcel Dronig. Marcel Dronig slowing down for the safety car. Didn't want to overtake it. Nicky Visser goes straight into the back of him and DNFs. And Marcel Dronig is out as well. Oh dear. Oh dearie me.
This is a weird situation here.
Well, it's so difficult because we saw that issue with the safety car parked up.
Again,
after
it's again parked up, isn't it?
Well, it seems to be moving. Let's go with Peter Phillips. No, Peter Phillips does have the safety car ahead of him. But what happened was Marcel was coming round turn 1 in first place, saw the safety car, slowed down not to overtake it. Nicky Visser was coming out of the pits and just went straight into the back of him. He wasn't expecting him to slow down and went straight into the back of him. Oh my goodness. Well, so difficult because obviously in that instance, you know, what do you do? I mean, Marcel was quite right to slow down, and now the safety car is still out. So we're starting lap 9, should come in on the end of lap 10. But, oh dear, that is just a horrible incident. And I'm sure Nicky is going to be fuming, as is your teammate Marcel, because really it wasn't their fault. It was just, they are not going to be happy with that, that's for sure.
No, they're not going to be. I wonder what they will say.
Well, I get the feeling there's going to be a lot of clips being made of this first 10 laps of this race, that's for sure. So we are riding on board with John Donkel still in second place. Peter Phillips from McLaren now has taken provisional P1. Boy Williamson for Haas is P3. Marcel France for Toro Rosso P4. Mark Stappers for McLaren is P5. So some very valuable points can be picked up here by McLaren. Bas de Breen now, he's moved up to 6. Stan Drumkov, Mercedes, is in 7. Miguel Torni for Force India is 8. Damie Hartman for Haas is 9. Sander Hermans for Mercedes on his inaugural race here is in 10th. And Martin Paardekooper for Marcel Dronig and Nicky Visser have DNF'd. We saw, and we've just been discussing that collision there with the safety car being out. And, well, not an awful lot more you can say about it. Williams also DNF'd, not too sure about that. Guido, who we're talking to at this moment, DNF'd as well, unfortunately, with a technical issue on the start of the race. And then he was nudged into the barrier. So, now this is weird, yeah. And he's in, so the race is underway. Peter Phillips on right, John Donkin, Boy Williamson looking to take advantage into turn one, but also Marcel France. So very, very close here, and Bass is really close in behind now. He's only 3/10 off the back, and we can see all these drivers bunched up now. We can see a bit of debris on the track as they're going around turn two. Into turn three, got to be careful on the exit here of turn three. Not to put down too much power, because you will spin out. But controlled start there from Peter Phillips. He's still will have DRS on him. Equally, Boy Williamson as well. Bastien Breen now has moved up into fourth, overtaking Marcel France in turn four. So he's moving himself up through the pack. And Damie Hartman's moved up to sixth as well. So this has been a very peculiar start to this race. But we've settled down now. We're on lap 11, 61 laps remaining. And I think we've got into a flow now. We can see a number of drivers on super soft, ultra soft, some on soft. Bastien Breen, Damie Hartman, Mark Stappers and Stan Drunkov are on the softs. And Marcel France still looking to challenge. Bass is closing in on the back of John Donkel, but equally John is closing in on the back of the McLaren. And Peter Phillips, oh, very close, nearly nudged into the back of him, but now Boy Williamson looking to try and take the inside on turn three. Doesn't quite make it stick, but he's certainly going to have a go here into turn four. So let's go on board with Boy Williamson now into turn four. He's got John Donkel ahead of him. He needs to hit that apex, open it up, and he's very, very close in behind here. Now, the only chance he's really going to have now is when they get on that start-finish straight with that DRS, and then the DRS out of turn one and equally out of turn three. John Donkel alongside Peter Phillips, trying to take the inside turn. Peter Phillips goes wide. John Donkel takes the lead. Out of turn 9 into 10. And Damie Hartman challenging now, trying to get in ahead of him. Damie Hartman will have DRS, as will Bastien Breen. And all four of those drivers, bar John Donkel, have the DRS. Obviously, Boy Williamson with a Ferrari engine and a Haas as well, so quite fast. And look at this, he's trying to take the inside now. Can Bass make it stick? No, he can't. Oh my goodness, I'm in the middle of them now. It's Marcel France, he's gone into both of them. Made a wedge, but Bass comes out ahead. Bass manages to stay ahead of Damie Hartman. No, he doesn't. Damie Hartman moves ahead of him. Damie Hartman's still ahead of him. Bastien Breen is in fourth place. Sander Hermans is in fifth. Marcel France now pushing. I'm not too sure what happened there. Did you see that, Guido? Guido not there at this moment in time, probably talking to his teammate Marcel Dronig, but very messy there from Marcel France. Out of three, managed to carve himself between Damie Hart and Bastien Breen. They got through, but that gave Sander Hermans the opportunity to sneak out in front of Marcel France, and Marcel drops down to P6. Sander Hermans now ahead of him, looking a bit twitchy though, gotta say. As they're coming up to turn one now. Let's ride on board with Marcel France out of turn one, DRS. And Marcel, I'm sure, is going to be looking to take that place. We've got safety car out again. So not too sure what's happened there, but the safety car is out again. Boy Williamson is into the pits. Safety car is out again. Not too sure what else it is. John Donkel is now in our race leader. Nicky Visser has left the session. doesn't want to watch anymore. Maybe we for a comment, so you can possibly come in for a comment. So we've see if maybe Nicky might want to come in for a comment on that. But John Donkel, and let's watch there. We've got safety car out again. Let's see if there's any issue. Did he pick him up? No. So he's round turn 1. Probably be picking him up round about turn. Oh no, there he is. So there we have safety car. Peter Phillips now lining up behind John Donkel. Davey Hartman coming in as well now. Sander Herman's a little bit further behind, should meet up with them after turn 3. Marcel France now bunching up as well for Toro Rosso. Miguel Torni in 6, Mark Stappers 7, and Basta Breen has just been into the pits, got himself a new set of boots. He's gone on to the Super Softs. We're on lap 15, so the Super Softs should take him through to mid-30s, 40. Clearly wasn't too happy on those softs, not giving him the grip that he ideally wanted. Boy Williamson just coming round turn 1 now. Martin Parder Cooper being lapped by a number of the drivers there, and Stan Drumkov now coming round turn 4 and 5. So John Donkel, our race leader, we are under safety car again. Hopefully we'll have Guido joining us shortly. So as it stands at this moment in time, we're on lap 16 of 71. What a start we saw. Guido Eschine, unfortunately technical issue on the start, didn't get off well. Once he did get off, was nudged into the barrier. He was our first DNF. Then we had Ryan Dronig, not too sure what happened there, he DNF'd. Then we had Nicky Visser, unfortunately plough into the back of Marcel Dronig, who was in first. It slowed down due to the safety car to stay behind the safety car, and Nicky Visser simply wasn't aware of it, didn't see it, came out of the pits, and as soon as Marcel Dronig slowed, and it was quite a sudden stop slow, not to overtake. Unfortunately, Nicky had nowhere to go. He was behind him. It just ploughed straight into the back of him. So, unfortunate incident there. And both Nicky Visser and Marcel Dronig DNF'd. That leaves the remaining field of 11 drivers. John Donkel is currently Force India in P1, P2, Peter Phillips for McLaren. P3 is Damie Hartman for Haas. Sander Hermans, inaugural first race with F1 tonight here in Austria. He's currently in P4. Marcel France for Toro Rosso is 5. Miguel Torni for Force India is 6. Mark Stappers for McLaren is 7. And Basta Breen down in 8. He has just pitted though under the safety car, gone on to a set of super softs. Boy Williamson for Haas is 9. Martin Parder Cooper for Red Bull is 10. And Stan Trump. Oh, dearie me. Who was that? Was that Peter Phillips? Has he got into the back, John Donkel? I don't think so, but that was a bit weird there. So they're on the way, yeah. Safety car has come in, John is on, but Davey Hartman is looking to challenge now on Peter Phillips as they come round turn 1. No DRS at this moment in time. We still have Green now. Oh, and he dives in deep there, but goes too deep, Damie Hartman. Peter Phillips will take that place back from him. Damie just going too deep there in turn 3. Damie Hartman still trying to challenge Peter Phillips, sticking into Sander Hermans. He's moving up rapid. Oh, dearie me. And Damie Hartman gets through, but Peter Phillips goes on to the rough there. Damie Hartman gets through, takes second place. Sander Hermans now moves up to third. Marcel France 4, Miguel Tawney 5, Bas de Breen 6 and Mark Stappers 7. Boy Williamson 8, Peter Phillips joins back in, but he's in 9th. Martin Parder-Cooper still in 10th, and Stan Drumkov is 11. So John Dunkel now, he's got full 3.5 seconds on Davey Hartman. And penalty picked up there, didn't quite catch who that was. I think that was Marcel France. Oh, and the Toro Rosso, Marcel France. Oh my goodness, whoa, and he reverses back. He was, oh no. Oh my goodness, and Bas de Breen is out. But, well, I don't know what happened there. But looked to me like Marcel France was trying to correct himself. It was actually reversed. The Stan Drumkov picks up a stop-go for ignoring the blue flag. Obviously to be overtaken there. But Marcel France, well, what can I say? Looked to me like he actually was not. Oh my goodness, and Sander Hermans has spun out as well. Oh dearie me, this really is panning out to be such a disastrous race for a number of drivers there. So apologies there, I was just trying to get some sort of idea as to what had actually happened. But unfortunately, really couldn't make much sense of it. I mean, certainly from what I was seeing, it looked a bit like Marcel France was doing a famous move, a Roman Grosjean move, and reversing onto the track, and unfortunately Bas de Breen suffered because he just ploughed straight into the back of him, but Marcel managed to stay out. So I don't know what will happen there, whether stewards will be looking into that at the end of the race. But as it stands at this moment in time, we're on lap 20 of 71, and John Donkel is leading this race, and he did start in second place, so he's been doing a great job there. He's still in front. He's 4.5 seconds down the road from Damie Hartman. And Damie Hartman now is really going to pick up some very, very valuable points, because his major competitor, Bas de Breen, is out of this race and will not pick up any points at all. And Boy Williamson has got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. We've had 2 safety cars. We've already got safety car out again. So safety car is out again. So we're riding with John Donkel. So that's what's happened there. Safety car has come out. This is now the 3rd safety car. And certainly I can understand it on the 1st, although I'm a little bit perplexed as to the 2nd and 3rd. And it seems that the safety car glitch is raising its head once more. We thought we'd seen it depart from us once we left the 2017 version of the game, but clearly we did see it on the early doors of 2018 game, but it seems to be back again. There we have the safety car just there, and this is the issue that we had that involved that incident with Nicky Visser and Marcel Dronig. So safety car is out again. We're on lap 21. The cars will bench up again, and it's a real shame because John was really starting to pull out quite a convincing lead. So Damie Hartman now coming down there behind him, Miguel Tawney. So good points here to be had by Force India. Mark Stappers is in the McLaren. Marcel France in the Toro Rosso, and we've seen Marcel involved in a couple interesting incidents during the course of this race, so not too sure what's I'm sure. Boy Williamson in the Haas is in 6th, Peter Phillips in the McLaren is 7, Martin Parder-Cooper for Red Bull is 8, Stan Drumkov for Mercedes is 8, and his team Alexander Hermans is in 10. So I would think that we would still, still staying out. So I expect the safety car to come in at the end of lap 22, and we've seen some really unfortunate incidents. We've already seen 5 drivers DNF, and it's such a shame. We've got some good drivers there: Basta Breen, Marcel Dronig, Nicky Visser, Ryan and Guido Eschlein. So both of the Renault drivers are out. We have no Saubers remaining, as Nicky was the only Sauber driving. We have no Williams, again, as Ryan was the only Williams racing. We have no Ferraris, as Bass was the only Ferrari racing. And we've got these cars line astern now, the remaining drivers. You can see there, Zander Hermans bringing up the rear, but they are literally line astern. So once this safety car goes in, and it will be at the end of this lap, this is going to be controlled obviously by John Donkel, and he's got to be careful because obviously the safety car will be on the right hand side. Go into turn 9, so I would suspect if I were John, just hold back out of 8, let the safety car get out ahead so you can build up a little bit of speed, because you want that speed as you go into turn 9. Still a bit too early, still a bit too early, still a bit too early. Now you need to go. Now's the time to go. But oh no, he can't. Now's the time. Now he's got to do it out of 9. Yeah, quick, go, 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 go. So John Donkel is restarting this race, but Damie Hartman is close in behind it. He's under a second. Green flags are being waved. Miguel Tourney is in 3rd, Marcel France is in 4th. But Damie Hartman is closing in. It's 1.1 seconds. He won't have DRS on John Donkel, and that is quite critical at this stage of the race. Miguel Tourney holding in 3rd place. Marcel France for Toro Rosso is very soon going to be challenging on that. Boy Williamson for Haas is closing in on the back of that Toro Rosso as they come down to 4. And what a race this is now. So we're on lap 23, 71. We're a 3rd of the way through this race. And we've seen some real battling action, and some very, very unfortunate DNFs. And Marcel France coming into the pits. Not too sure if he's going to be serving a stop-go or not. Also in the pits is Boy Williamson and Miguel Tourney. So Marcel France, 3-second time penalty, exceeding track limits. And Boy Williamson, Marcel France out on track. Damie Hartman is in 2nd. He's nearly 3 seconds behind John Donkel now. So John is absolutely flying on those super softs. Damie is on the soft, so he is looking to go a little bit deeper. And all those top 3 drivers, all their boots are more or less the same. So 15 laps for Marcel France and John Donkel, 16 laps on the softs for Damie Hartman. So Damie does have the advantage at this moment in time, although he is 3 seconds down the road behind John Donkel. But he clearly will be able to stay out longer than those 2 drivers. Mark Stappers as well, he's only 5 seconds down the road. So what we could see, once these guys come in, those super softs, I would suspect, we've had a number of safety cars, as we know, so they should go a little bit deeper. I would expect them to go into the mid-20s, and Marcel France just overtaking one of the back markers there, which is Martin Parder-Cooper in the Red Bull. So I'd expect those super soft drivers to be coming in. So John Donkel and Marcel France probably round about mid to low 20s. That would then release Davey Hartman. Equally, Peter Phillips, he is on the ultra softs, but he should be pitting round about the same time as Marcel. So that will release Mark Stappers, and he's just moved up into 4th place, Mark Stappers. And Peter Phillips, I'm not too sure if he's got a problem. Yeah, Peter Phillips clearly got a problem there, very, very slow indeed. Coming down to turn 4, don't know what his issue is. Doesn't look like he's got any obvious damage to the car there, so really not too sure what's happened there. But Mark Stappers has moved up into 4th place. Now, Mark Stappers will be released once Marcel France and John Donkel come in, so he should take provisional 2nd place. So this is looking very, very good for him. Boy Williamson in Haas is currently in 5th. Again, he's on a set of softs, so he will be go deeper than the other two. So we could potentially see Boy Williamson certainly in a good chance for that podium at this moment in time. Peter Phillips still struggling round the track, really not too sure what his issue is there. And safety car is out again. Oh my goodness. This is the 4th safety car, and we're only on lap 26. Safety car is out again. Now, John obviously has to slow down, but he won't meet that safety car until he comes out of turn 1 and after the exit of the pits. So just before turn 2, he should meet that safety car once more, and once again the field will be bunched up, and Peter Phillips indeed coming into the pits. And again, I'm really not too sure. He's got quite a number of lights flashing on his car there. John Donkel's got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Oh my goodness, our race leader has a drive-through penalty. Now that is really going to mix things up. And Peter Phillips is back out on track. I'm thinking, could he have had a puncture? Might have had a puncture. And we're just watching now as Marcel France comes round. Davey Hartman is now taken. Whoa, don't overtake him, for God's sake. Oh dear, Davey, you better hope you didn't overtake that car. The safety car isn't exactly the fastest, even though it is an incredibly fast road car. But yes. Well, this certainly has mixed things up. John Donkel now he's currently in 3rd place, so I believe he has served his penalty. Clearly came straight in the pits to serve his penalty there. He's gone on to a new set of boots, so he's gone on to a set of softs. Davey Hartman, as I thought, had been released. He's gone into 1st place. Marcel France, he's still in 2nd, but he's going to need to be pitting relatively soon, as he's on the 18-old super softs. Mark Stappers, now he's down in 4th place, but I think John Donkel has caught him out there by going onto the softs, so he's not going to have too much of an opportunity unless he manages to take John Donkel on track. Boy Williamson, he's on 6-lap-old soft, so he's still looking good, and indeed he should be able to challenge for the drivers ahead of him. Miguel Torney, teammate to John Donkel, he's on a set of super soft, so that's going to be interesting once he catches up with the pack and they get underway. Peter Phillips, he's currently P7 for McLaren, although at this moment in time he is sitting behind his teammate. A couple of drivers need to go in between there. Then we've got Martin Parder-Cooper for Red Bull, he's in P8. Stan Drumkov and Zalda Hermans for Mercedes bringing up the rear in 9th and 10th respectively. So, safety car is out on track. We're on lap 28. That means that safety car will be coming in at the end of lap 29. So that'll be nearly halfway through the race, and what an eventful race it has been. Austria, very, very fast track with low speed corners and very acute corners, but also some incredibly high speed corners as well. It's claimed quite a number of victims. Turn 3, very tricky. Coming out of turn 3, if you lay down too much power, all too easy to lose it. Overtaking opportunities, certainly turn 4 after turn 1 and 2, where we have the addition of the DRS zone out of turn 1. Obviously DRS then out of turn 3 as well. And then the final DRS, so 3 DRSs on this track. So it is a fast circuit. We're looking at, well, 109, I believe, is the fastest provisional time that was set, and that was by, well, John Donkel on track at the moment set a 109, but Nicky Visser set a 109.2. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, and the, oh, it's coming now. Oh, so it's coming now, right? Fantastic. So there we have it. We are racing. Damie Hartman, Marcel France very close in behind him now. Let's watch them as they come into turn 1. John Donkel close in behind these two as well. Oh, and Damie a little bit wide there. Marcel's caught up with him. He's got the DRS. Can he do anything into turn 2? He's almost pulling up alongside him, managing to get in front of him. But Damie should have the advantage as he's on the outside. No, and he goes wide again. Oh, tries to join the track there. Damie joins, but he's now behind John Donkel and Marcel France. He just cannot get that turn 3 right. Let's hope he can do a little bit there in turn 4. But Mark Stappers now is very close in. He's got his team. Oh, Mark Stappers goes off. Mark Stappers goes off at 4. Miguel Torni moves up into 5th place. Mark Stappers drops down into 6th place. Peter Phillips is in 7th in the McLaren. Martin Pardercooper 8th. So a mix around, a turnaround there as they're coming round. And these drivers trying for Xander Hermans picks up a stop-go for ignoring the blue flag. That's his second. One more and he will be disqualified. It is his inaugural race, so he's obviously just getting a feel for it, but not ideal. And again, Marcel France going wide out of turn 10 there, but John Donkel has taken the lead again. What a fantastic move there from John Donkel. Marcel France still applying the pressure in P2, and Damie Hartman, he is going to be very, very frustrated indeed. He was in that turn 3, he just can't seem to get that turn 3 right. Does now perfectly. Look at that. That's what you wanted to be doing, Damie. Now, obviously, it's easy to say, but he was under pressure from Marcel France. So that clearly led him to go that little bit too deep and then go wide. He was on the left-hand side, sorry, the right-hand side, so he should have had the advantage into there. Could have controlled that, but still. Oh, a little bit careful there. Round turn 7 into 8. But John Donkel already starting to pull out. He's got a 2.5 already on Marcel France, but Damie Hartman will have DRS on Marcel France once they get onto that start-finish straight. And you can see in the background there, Mark Stappers. And Peter Phillips is actually out. He's in P7. Mark Stappers is in 6. Miguel Torni is in 5. John Donkel was coming to the pits. Oh, that was to serve his drive-through penalty. So John Donkel into pit serving his drive-through penalty. And Miguel Torni here. Boy Williamson closing in on his teammate Damie Hartman. Damie still not able to make the move on Marcel France. He's got Peter Phillips out of position ahead of him, but Peter isn't going to let him past easily. He should do. He's got blue flag. But he is definitely holding up the Haas here. The McLaren driver needs to just move aside and let him through. Sander Hermans, 5-second stop go for ignoring the blue flag. As I say, he's got to be careful. Could be disqualified if he keeps doing that. And certainly Peter Phillips needs to move aside as well. Let's hope he does that on this start-finish now. Let's go. Well, he doesn't have to as yet because obviously Damie hasn't caught up with him. Let's see what happens. But Peter Phillips is riding with the ultra softs, so he has got the fastest tyres effectively on the track at this moment in time. He's not helping, and he moves aside there. No, what's happened there? No power from Davey Hartman. Peter Phillips goes out ahead of him. I don't know what's happening there. Yellow flag, safety car out again. That's what's happened. So we are now, I believe, on our 5th safety car. And this is so frustrating. If anyone from Codemasters is watching this, for God's sake, sort it out. This is really detracting from the race. We've got a safety car out again for no reason whatsoever, as have been certainly the last 3, if not 4 safety cars. How disappointing, really wreaking havoc on the race and the gameplay and the competition. So Marcel France, Damien Hartman picks up a 5-second stop go for ignoring the yellow flag. So quite a number of points will be coming into play here. Marcel should be catching up with that safety car now. Yep, there it is on the right hand side. Don't overtake it! Oh, too late. And that is exactly what happened with Marcel Dronig and Nicky Visser. Marcel Dronig, very difficult to see that safety car was on that right hand side. It also appears on that right hand side. Slowed right down, very similar to what Marcel France did there. And that's when Nicky Visser just went straight to the back of him. Totally unexpected racing incident, but very, very frustrating, I'm sure, for both those drivers earlier on. And we nearly saw a repeat of that now. So Peter Phillips, although he's in 7th, he is currently out of place, and he does need to, and now would be the time to relinquish that position. I don't know if Boy Williamson is aware of the fact that he can actually go past Peter, because Peter is actually in 7th place. Clearly, he's not aware of that, but he should be being made aware of that by Jeff, so not too sure what's happening there. He's treating him as he is in the position ahead of him, and it could be that on track there might well be. We've seen a number of glitches. There has been an update, so whether that has had any effect on this racing, I'm not too sure. And the safety car stays out, so we'll be coming in at the end of lap 34, which is the lap we're about to start now. But clearly Boy Williamson is not aware, and again, it could be that Peter Phillips is actually in that P2, and the information that I have on my board is incorrect. But equally, you can see Martin Parder Cooper there behind Damie. So ideally, what these guys need to do, they need to get themselves into position, and Boy needs to get past, and he needs to be made aware that he can, as far as I'm aware, get past Peter Phillips. And clearly he is racing as if Peter Phillips is actually ahead of him, so he could well be. So very, very confusing. I do apologise for that. You're clearly seeing the same as I am at this moment in time. And it is showing Boy Williamson in 2nd place and Peter Phillips in 7th. So, under safety car conditions, you should be able to overtake him. Let's just go on board with Peter Phillips and see if he's actually getting any blue flags as he's going round. He's slowing right down there. He's moving to the right hand side of the track. I think I think he's looking to get Boy Williamson to overtake him, but Boy isn't going for it. Marcel France now, and the safety car is coming in. Now's the time to open it up. Can't overtake him. He's got to be careful as he comes in the pits. Now he can do it. So Marcel France is underway. Boy Williamson is now looking to make the move on Peter Phillips. Should do into turn 1. Indeed, yes, he does. So he now moves up behind France, but Peter Phillips very close in behind him there. Boy Williamson, he just cannot take that turn 3. He just really can't get to grips with it. I'm not too sure what's happening there. So let's get back onto this now. So we've got Marcel France for Toro Rosso is leading this race. We're halfway through this F1 tonight. Eventful Austrian Grand Prix here at the Red Bull Ring. Eventful it certainly has been. We've lost quite a number of the field in the first few. We've had, I believe now, 5, 6 safety cars. Very unfortunate. Undoubtedly, we'll probably pick up another one in a couple of laps. We will see. And if that being the case, it's going to be even more frustrating. Boy Williamson for Haas, he's in 2nd place, certainly on my board. Damie Hartman, his teammate, he's in 3rd. John Donkel is down in 4th. He was leading this race, but has had to serve a number of penalties. Mark Strappers for McLaren is 5th. Miguel Tourney for Force India is 6th. Peter Phillips for McLaren is 7th. Martin Pardercooper for Red Bull is 8th. And Stan Drumkov and Sander Hermans, the Mercedes drivers, new to F1, are bringing up the rear in 9 and 10. So we're with Marcel France, and Boy Williamson is only a couple of tenths off the back of him now as they for nice aerial view there. And certainly Marcel has got a good feel for this track, moving well on the corners, hitting the apexes and the rumble strips pretty well. Martin Pardercooper, 5 second stop go for ignoring a blue flag there. And Damie is closing in as well on his teammate. He's only 1.2 seconds off. Oh, and Boy going wide there on turn 9. Get the feeling that Boy Williamson's got a very low downforce on his car. Damie Hartman does the fastest lap, 108.9. Now this is critical. Boy does not like turn 3, but he's clearly going to get the inside on Marcel France. Wants to go on the left-hand side. Brake. Turn now. Yes! Lay down the power, wheel straight. Make sure he doesn't spin out. And he's got DRS again. They should be able to make the move on Marcel France. Yes, he does on the inside. Fantastic. Into turn 4. Hit that apex. Not quite. But yes, he gets through. And Boy Williamson takes 1st place from Marcel France. But now we've got Damie Hartman closing in on the back of the Toro Rosso. And he's clearly going to be looking to make a move on that Toro Rosso very soon indeed. Now it could be that he might make the move here in turn 9. Every opportunity, certainly in 10. He's close in behind him. He will have DRS on that straight. He's 6 tenths behind him. What can he do with that DRS now? He needs to try and get ahead of this Toro Rosso. Moves to the right-hand side, back over to the left again. Nicely done there by Marcel France, took that well. But Damie now is all over his gearbox as they come up to turn 3. Damie taking the outside, advisable on this turn, brakes. Oh, and a wheel-to-wheel there between the Toro Rosso and the Haas, but the Haas gets the advantage, moves out ahead. But John Donkel now is also closing in. And safety car is out again. Yep, as I expected. 2 clean laps, and then we have the safety car. Well, if this is going to be the case for the rest of the race, what can I say? I can only but apologise to our viewers, but unfortunately, this is not under our control. And it's very frustrating indeed. So we could potentially, if this continues, see at least another 5 to 6 safety cars out, and this is just going to completely ruin this race, because what we're seeing here is a gap being opened up, and then within 2 laps having to close it down, 2 laps on the safety car, and then off again. So it's a 4-lap cycle. In fact, on that basis, we should actually see 7 safety cars before the end of this race, and I sincerely hope we don't. but I don't think that my figures will be coming into play here. Now, the other interesting thing is with this amount of safety cars, obviously it's going to drastically reduce the wear on those tyres, and this is going to be interesting from the stock point of view. Now, the only one here that really has to ensure they come in is Marcel France. He's only had the one stop. He's saying that, actually, no, I think he should be okay. He did change tyres, so he might well be okay. But this is so frustrating for the drivers, certainly, undoubtedly for those of you who are viewing this race. And we've seen a number of collisions happen, and clearly that has triggered something within the code of the game, which means that every 4 to 5 lap we are seeing a safety car come out, and that safety car is staying out for at least 1 to 2 laps. So we're just about to start lap 40, and the safety car will come in, or should come in, at the end of this lap. But what does it mean? It means that we've bunched up the whole pack, and you can see Sander Hermans there coming in on the rear, and the whole of the pack is bunched up. So everyone was on the straight there as Boy Williamson goes around turn 1. I think the issue is the debris that we have remaining on turn 1. It hasn't been cleared by the game. The game, therefore, I would suspect, is picking that up as damage on the course, requiring the safety car to come out so it can actually be removed from the track. The problem is it's not being removed from the track. Martin Pardercooper, 5-second stop, go for illegal blocking. So not too sure what happened there. Don't quite know how that works out when you're under safety car conditions. So this really has been a very glitchy game so far, which has led to a very frustrating championship race, and not one that the drivers will be enjoying. Clearly those that are remaining out on track, happy to be so and pick up, and safety car is indeed in at the end of this lap. So yes, okay, they picked up places, they got positions, they will have points at the end, but a very frustrating way to actually gain those. And it looks to me as if it's getting darker, so I'm not too sure if we're not going to start seeing rain, and the safety car is coming in. But remember, he cannot overtake that safety car, even though it's in on the pit lane. It hasn't actually gone into the pits as yet. So it's only once it actually gets under that awning on the right-hand side, which it does now. So the race is again underway. Boy Williamson pulling out, Damie Hartman in second, Marcel France in third, John Donkel in fourth. Damie is making a move on his teammate, Boy Williamson, round 2. And yes, Damie Hartman gets ahead there. Boy Williamson dropping down to 2, but Marcel France and John Donkel will fight here around turn 3. Marcel just about staying ahead. 3-time, second-time penalty for Sander Hermans there. But you can see Mark Stappers in the background there behind John Donkel, trying to get past that Force India. And a real race here, a real fight between 3rd, 4th and 5th. And John Donkel really laying down the pressure there, looking to go past Marcel France. And Marcel is on a 32-set old lap. 32-set old lap set of super softs. Never get that right. I will one day. So he is likely to be coming in relatively soon, although obviously all these safety cars has certainly helped him. But John Donkel, 14-lap old set of softs, and he's closing in on the back of Marcel France as they come into turn 1. And Damie Hartman, 2.5 seconds down the road now from his teammate. Marcel France and John Donkel there really fighting it out. You can still see debris on there, and that's what's happening. The yellow flags are still being waved in turn 1, and I think that is what is causing that. And John, nearly makes the move. Oh, they're side by side coming down to turn 4. Now John's got to watch it here. He needs to hit that apex. Don't worry about that. Hit the apex. Hit the apex. Yes, nicely done. Takes the place. John Dunkel moves up into third place, overtaking Marcel France in the Toro Rosso. Mark Stappers is now closing in on Marcel France as well, but John Dunkel is now released to catch up to Boy Williamson in the Haas. Haas of Boy Williamson is in second. His teammate Damie Hartman is in first. So some very, very valuable points here to be picked up by Haas if they remain in this position. Damie Hartman will take second place in the Drivers' Championship. The DRS has been enabled now, and you can see the yellow on there. And what's happening? The yellow is on turn 1 and 2 due to the debris on the track on that pit exit. You can just see it there, and that is what is triggering the safety car coming up, because that debris has not been cleared, and that is the issue. So again, if anyone from Codemasters is watching, that is what's happening, and that is what you need to get sorted out, because this safety car glitch is horrendous, my friends. So I'm hoping that we won't see it again, but I'm not holding up too much faith. So Damie Hartman now, he's got 4 seconds, really moving, and John Dunkel is only just under or over a second behind Boy Williamson, so it won't be long before he will have DRS on that Haas. Mark Stappers dropped down a little bit further behind. He's 2.5 seconds now behind John Dunkel, but Marcel France, and he has overtaken Marcel France indeed. So Marcel France has dropped down into 5th place. So Mark Stappers did make the move on the Toro Rosso, but Marcel France is staying with him. You can see yellows there. I'm hoping that will be cleared and we won't see the safety car out. If we do, it will be before the end of this lap. So keep a look out there. So Damie Hartman coming down now to turn 4. Boy Williamson, his teammate, 4.5 seconds behind him. John Dunkel is in 3rd place. He's only 8/10 off the back of that Haas. So he is closing him down. Mark Stappers 2.5 seconds behind them. Marcel France for Toro Rosso is 5. Miguel Torni for Force India is 6. Martin Pardico for Red Bull is 7. Stan Drumkov for Mercedes is 8. Peter Phillips, McLaren 9. And Zander Hermans for Mercedes, bringing up the rear in 10. So Damie Hartman now coming round sector 3 on the start-finish straight. Sector 1 now, and we can see some drops of rain. Yeah, I thought we could see clouds and it getting greyer, and there are definitely a few drops of rain coming down now. Whether that will stay or not, it's certainly going to be interesting. We're on that 45 of 71, and to say this has been an eventful Austrian Grand Prix would probably be the understatement, if not of the season, of the decade. But we are still doggedly fighting through, and what a fight we have. Both the Hasses on and second. John Dunkel, who has been a force to contend with right from the start of this race, is laying down the pressure. Now, John is pretty good when it comes to wet weather conditions, and they will have to pit if it stays like this and go on to those intermediates. They're still okay on the dries. The track is still looking good, but if it starts, well, if it stays like this, they're probably going to have about another 4 laps or thereabouts on the dries. But you can see John really closing in on the back of this Haas now. DRS is still active. Obviously, once that is deactivated, then we know we're on a wet track, and you certainly need to go on to the intermediates. But John giving himself a little bit more breathing space now. The main is staying. Track's still dry, so no need for those intermediates yet. As I say, if it stays like this, probably going to be about another 3 slow laps before they come in, so probably round about lap 50. But John Dunkel in the Force India is not letting up. He's on a 19-set-old softs. Boy Williamson ahead of him. His softs are 25 laps old. So John now lining him up into turn one. He has DRS. Can he make it stick? Nicely done there. DRS again. But remember that TAS is powered by a Ferrari plant, so it's got good straight line speed. This is where he can do him now on turn three. Boyd not good on turn three. Yes, and he's going out. Yes! And yes, John Donkel's alongside him. Boyd just laid down the power, nearly lost control there. And John Donkel has just nosed out in front of him, and he takes him. Nicely done there. And that is where you've got to be careful. You cannot have your wheels turned at all when you're coming out of three and laying down the power, because if you do, you will go off. You've got to have those wheels straight before you lay down that power. John Donkel taking advantage of the error there of Boy Williamson, and Boy Williamson really hasn't been able to deal with that turn three for the majority of this race, and it has unfortunately been to the detriment of his race. So Boy Williamson drops down to three. John Donkel now released to get and catch up with Damie Hartman, who's 8 seconds down the road. We're on lap 48 of 71. We are 2/3 of the way through this race, the last third remaining. Thankfully, there is no safety car out. Oh, we got yellow flags, sector 1, 2 and 3. Race control will miss that. Don't know what happened there. Please, please let it not be safety car out. The conditions are getting... No, we're still green. Still green, so looking good. Yep, so we're still green, but I've got yellow flags being waved on the course. And when I go in car with the drivers, I've got green. Oh, should I laugh or should I cry? I don't know. So, Damie Hartman starting lap 49. Still on those super softs. But the track is definitely getting wetter. And you can start to see the damp on that track now. Race control, Martin Parder-Cooper, 3-second time penalty there, undoubtedly for exceeding track limits. That's it, get those wheels straight before you lay down the power, Davey. John Donkel coming round, turn 3 now. Boy Williamson is, well, nearly 2 seconds behind him now. Mark Stapper's 7 seconds behind. Marcel France, another 8, so quite a gap now between those drivers. So really, it's John Donkel needing to close down on Damie Hartman, and Damie, little bit of back-end swing there. 16 laps on those super softs. He's still okay, obviously. Full racing, he's probably only done 6 or 7 laps. We had safety car beforehand, but you can start to see it is starting to look quite slippery now. Not quite weather for intermediates as yet, so Damien needs to stay out, I would suggest, for another couple of laps. We are on lap 50. I did expect them to be coming in probably round about now, but it is getting to that tricky stage. Too early yet for intermediates, but got to be careful. Boy Williamson, 5-second stop go for speeding in the Timlin lane. So Boy Williamson, John Donkel has now gone on to the intermediates. Don't know, I think it might be a little bit too early, but we'll see. You can stay on track. Boy Williamson also come in and gone on to the intermediates. Mark Stappers has now been released into second, just overtaking his teammate who's just come out of the pits, and interestingly enough, he's come out on a set of super softs. So not too sure what Peter Phillips was thinking there, but oh, Mark Stapper's going wide and Peter Phillips going off the track there. He's taken out his front wing. DRS has now been disabled, so Peter Phillips will have to come in again for a new front wing and a set of intermediates. Now this is the interesting thing. Damie Hartman, he's going to be coming in now as will Mark Stappers. But Damie Hartman, he's the race leader. He needs to go. He's got 27 seconds. So it should be enough to get out ahead of John Donkel. Oh, Mark Stappers is off the track now. John Donkel, second place. Damie Hartman coming into his pit now. He's got a 5-second stop go. Yeah, there we go, 5 seconds as well. New set of intermediates. John Donkel only just coming round turn 10. Damie Hartman being released, and Damie will, I believe, come out ahead of John. Although it is going to be very, very close indeed. I'm just watching the corner here. And let's go on board with John Donkel. But no, Damie Hartman safely about a good 4 seconds, 5 seconds probably ahead. But it's saying 3 seconds here on my board. So John Donkel came in early, but it was a good move. Actually, I was a little bit suspect as to whether he was calling it a little bit too early, but it seems to have panned out for him. So he's moved up in second place. Boy Williamson is in third. Marcel France now has moved up into fourth. Miguel Torney for Force India is fifth. Mark Stappers is sixth. And yellow sector 1, 2 and 3, so not too sure what's happening there. Stan Drumkov for Mercedes is 8. Sector 1 and 2. We've got yellow flags. I think that's the debris, but it looked like the debris had actually been cleared. Stan Drumkov in 8. Peter Phillips in the pits, on his way to his pit lane there. 5-second stop go for him as well. Nose change, new wheels. So let's get back into the mix now. We're on lap 52, 71, 19 laps remaining, and I would suspect that we are very likely to see another stop, because it would not surprise me if one of two things happen. Either the rain gets heavier and they need to go on to wets, or the rain eases up and they go on to super softs. So it's going to be interesting to see how that actually pans out. Damie Hartman, our race leader at this moment in time in the Haas. 3 seconds, well, 3.5 seconds down the road is John Donkel in the Force India. Then we have Boy Williamson, second Haas driver, he's currently P3. Marcel France for Toro Rosso, he's P4. Miguel Torney for Force India is 5. Mark Stappers for McLaren is 6. Martin Parder-Cooper for Red Bull is 7. Stan Drunkov for Mercedes is 8. Peter Phillips for McLaren is 9. And I did miss there, Zander Hermans for Mercedes, unfortunately, has DNF'd. Not too sure what happened then. It could well have been the yellow flags we saw a little bit earlier for sectors 1 and 2. So we are racing with Damie Hartman, and he only has 18 laps remaining, as do the remaining drivers. They are all on intermediates now, and the question is, how long can they stay on them? If the rain stays as it is, then they could well go to the end of the race, but it looks to me as if that rain is sufficiently heavy to make the track wetter, and that being the case, we could possibly see the drivers going on to the full wets. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with regard to that. So everyone in the field has pretty much opened up a reasonable gap, and John Donkel is not being able to close down that gap to Damie Hartman, and indeed equally Boy Williamson not able to close down to John Donkel. So pretty much even Stevens at this moment in time. So if we look on here, obviously, if we maintain these places, Demi Hartmann would be picking up 25 points. And that will put him on 101. And in second place in the Drivers' Championship, John Donkel would be picking up 18 points. And that would move him up to P6. Yes, I believe it would be P6 in the Drivers' Championship. Boy Williamson, he's currently in 5th in the Drivers' Championship. He'd be picking up 15 points, and that would put him ahead of Nicky Visser, so that'd move him up into 4th place. So quite a number of points to be taken, which will affect certainly the midfield in the Drivers' at this moment in time. And we are riding with Demi Hartmann, our race leader. He's 4.5 seconds down the road to John Donkel, who's currently in 2nd place. Boy Williamson in the Haas, about another 4.5 seconds behind him in 3rd place. Marcel France, quite a bit behind in 4th. Then we have Miguel Tourney for Force India in 5th. Mark Stappers for McLaren is 6th. Martin Paardekoper for Red Bull is 7th. Stan Drumkov for Mercedes is 8th, and he's really taking it quite gingerly round there. Not too sure, he must have some issue. Got to be careful, because Peter Phillips, well, he's 2 laps behind everyone. But I don't think he's going to be catching up to Stan Drunkov. But Stan Drunkov clearly issues. Yeah, and he's got a flat tyre. And he's stopping. He can't move. Looks like he's got a flat. Yeah, on the rear, right rear there. So nearly got stuck coming into the pits. So rather unfortunate there for Stan Drumkov, but he still remains in the fight. And let's get up now. And we're still same gap to the leaders. We're on lap 56 of 71, only 15 laps remaining of this. It's starting to get a bit wobbly on those intermediates already. Let's watch him out of 9. Not too bad, but good speed there. He's only in 5th gear. Taking it nice and easy, but clearly this track is getting wetter, and the question is, how much longer can they stay out on those intermediates before they go on to the full wet? Now, Demi Hartmann, 3-second time penalty there, so he's exceeding track limits, and bear in mind that these will come into play at the end of the race. And John Donkel, I know he has picked up, I think, 1 set of points. He's already served his stop goes, so this could come into play at the end of this race. Clearly traction is getting worse. Still intermediate, not wet as yet. We're on that cusp again, because if it stays like this, the racing line is not too bad. You can see the darker patch there on the track. That is the racing line, that is dry. And then the grey areas are the wet areas. Demi Hartmann catching up to Stan Drumkov, who's currently P8. Stan moving aside there, let him through. He now knows the blue flags, that's for sure. Let's ride on board with Demi Hartmann just to get an idea of how that traction is on this Haas. It's not looking too bad at this moment in time, but the track, a reasonable amount of spray coming off those tyres. It's not full wet as yet, but if conditions remain like this, we could well see full wets come into play before the end of the race. And this is where it is tricky, because do you take that risk, go onto those full wets, and you can clearly see him struggling round turn 5 there. Just watching round 6 and 7. 7 to 8, that will certainly tell. So, not quite, but it is on the cusp. So difficult to call, because anyone that comes in now will obviously give away position. Danny staying out, as is John Donkel as well. And John, not too, he quite likes the wet, so these conditions might well be suiting him a little bit better, and he has indeed closed down the gap. He's taken about 6 or 7 tenths out of that lead that Damie Hartman had. On that basis, he could well catch up to him around about the mid-60s if they stay on these tyres. And I would expect, if it doesn't get any worse, but difficult to say, I'd suspect that John would probably stay on those intermediates till the end, which would force the hand, certainly, of Boy Williamson and Damie Hartman in staying out there. But everyone is still on those intermediates. Nobody as yet taking the risk of going on to those wets. And let's have a look again at this track. But definitely traction is coming into an issue. We've got 12 laps remaining, but this track is definitely getting a lot slipperier. You can see there a little bit of a twitch coming down into turn 10. Shouldn't be too bad. And obviously these low speed corners here, as long as you approach them well. So don't expect too much trouble, certainly around turns 1 and 3. And we'll stay on board around turn 3. Nicely done, hit the apex, real straight, lay down the power, there you go. So it's not looking too bad, but this is where it counts now, is around turn 4. Because you've got a lot of low downforce because of the camber as well. And let's see how he deals round 4 and 5. Yeah, and that line there, you can still see there is still a dry line. So although those intermediates, this is their ideal conditions, it could well be that we will see intermediates now until the end of this race. We've only got 11 laps remaining. You are in F1 tonight, and we are in Austria at the Red Bull Ring. And well, I just haven't got enough time to tell you what happened. So if you're watching this now, you've got to watch from the start. I will apologise for the safety car glitch that did rear its ugly head, but it seemed to rectify itself. So we're on lap 6. Sorry, we had about 6 or 7 safety cars come out. We're on lap 61. 10 laps remaining. And John Donkel was starting to close down that gap to Damie Hartman in the Haas, but hasn't been able to consolidate that, and indeed the gap is starting to open up again. So Damie, I think, getting a feel for this track. Rain still coming down, but still not sufficiently to warrant the drivers going on to the wet tyres. So I'm pretty certain that we will see them going to the end of the race on these intermediates, but they will need to do a certain amount of nursing and care, certainly round sector 3. Not too bad round sectors 1 and 2, barring obviously turn 4 and 5, which can be a bit tricky, but certainly sector 3 is a lot trickier with the speed of the corners and the cambers, etc. And yeah, we saw a little twitch there on the exit out 9. We saw that on the lap before as well. So Damie Hartman starting his 62nd lap now. John Donkel pretty much hovering around the 4-second gap to Damie Hartman. Ooh, a bit of a power slide there round turn 1. Boy Williamson, he's actually losing ground. He's nearly 7 seconds down the road behind John Donkel at this moment. Marcel France, he's in P4. Miguel Torney for Force India, P5. So good points there for Miguel Torney as well. And he'll certainly be picking up some valuable points there. And Mark Stappers, he's in 5th place for McLaren. Martin Parder-Cooper for Red Bull is in 7th. Stan Drunkov for Mercedes is in 8th. And Peter Phillips for McLaren is in 9. Just a quick little bit of info. The only 2 teams remaining as a team are Haas and Force India. All the others have either DNF'd. So Ferrari out, Renault out, Sauber out, Williams out, Toro Rosso staying in there, as are Red Bull and McLaren and Mercedes with their single remaining drivers. But Haas will be picking up some valuable constructors' points, as will Force India, as long as they stay where they are. And we're riding with Peter Phillips. He's bringing up the rear in the McLaren. Has unlapped himself, still got another lap to do. And our race leader, Damie Hartman, now starting to really pull out ahead of John Donkel, up to 5 seconds now, the gap between him and John Donkel. You can just see Stan Drumkov there, I believe it is, yep, in the background behind John Donkel, so he's keeping up pace with 2nd place John Donkel. And John gap was sitting around about 4 seconds, up to about 5 seconds now to Damie Hartman. We've got 7 laps remaining of this F1 Tonight Austrian Grand Prix, round 8 of season 4. We're on 2018. Seasons 1, 2 and 3 were played on 2017 version. Obviously the release of the game for 2018, quite deep into the actual real world season, was in end of August. That's when we started our season 4, and it certainly has been a very, very interesting season indeed. Obviously a number of changes to the system. 2 major changes. ERS is now controlled by the driver, or can be if they so wish, and also the tyres. Not only are we looking at the core tyre temperature, but we're also looking at the carcass temperature as well, which comes into play. So another element there for the drivers to take account of. And it has meant some very interesting races, certainly at the start, where everyone was getting pretty much used to that. I think they pretty much settled down now, and this Austrian Grand Prix was quite a mix, certainly on qualifying. Saw a real mixed bag. Nicky Visser, John Donkel taking 1 and 2. Then we saw Marcel France was in row 2 as well for Toro Rosso, as was the McLaren. So a bit of a mix to the start. We saw a few incidents on turns 1. Unfortunately, the Renault driver, Guido Ershine, didn't get a good start due to technicalities, and then got nudged into the barrier by a car behind him. So sad to see him go. Ryan Dronig for Williams went out. We're not too sure what happened. Nicky Visser and Marcel Dronig out due to, well, an incident involving the safety car, and very unfortunate. No fault of either driver, I think, there. Bastibreen taken out by Marcel France as he was doing a Roman Grosjean and reversing onto the track, and I think that may well be investigated. See what happens with regards to that. So he was taken out. And then finally, Zander Hermans, the Mercedes driver, on his inaugural race. And again, I can't comment as to what happened on there, but I think it was around about sectors 1 and 2. So probably turn 3, I would suspect. But it has meant an eventful race. We then had the rain start coming down about well, let me see, around about lap 51, I think it was. Yeah, yeah. Well, a little bit earlier than that. Started coming down around about lap 50, 49, 50, and then we saw the drivers go on to the intermediates, which they're on now. We have 5 laps remaining. Clearly, these drivers are happy to stay out on the intermediates, and there hasn't really, yes, it is wet, but we can still see a clearly defined racing line there. So good for the intermediates, although it has been a bit slippery on some corners where it is that bit damper. But John Donkel has a great race there from the Force India, from qualifying all the way through. Damie Hartman, he's only got 4 laps remaining now to seal the deal and assure second place in the Drivers' Championship, and some very valued points for his team. They'll be picking up 1st and 3rd, so that would be 43 points, and those 43 points added on to their existing points would mean that they'd be on 160 in the constructors. Ferrari, obviously no points, they'd stay on to 13, so Haas getting very close indeed. Sauber, unfortunately, won't pick up points. Red Bull, well, at this moment in time, Martin Paardekoper is in 7th place, so he'd be picking up 6 points. That put him on 79 in the constructors, so they pretty much stay where they are. Renault, no points. Force India, however, would obviously be picking up points, and they would be getting, let's have a look now, where is Miguel Tourney? So Miguel Tourney is in 5th place, so he'd pick up 10 points. His teammate would pick up 18, that's 28 points. That would put them on 81, which would put them into 4th in the Drivers' in the Constructors' Championship. So it would certainly be a great result for Force India. We're riding with Damie Hartman. He is convincingly pulling out the lead from John Donkel. Got up to 7 seconds. Boy Williamson not closing down on 2nd place. John Donkel at this moment in time. Marcel France for Toro Rosso is in 4th. Miguel Tourney remains in 5th for Force India. Mark Stappers for McLaren is 6th. Martin Paardekoper for Red Bull is 7. Stan Drumkov for Mercedes is 8. And Peter Phillips. Martin Paardekoper, 5 seconds stop go there. He's not going to be happy with that, but still, not an awful lot he can do. That's going to drop him, I would suspect. Well, he might actually remain, yep, he would remain in 7th place. But Peter Phillips, he's currently in 9th in the McLaren. And Damie Hartman, well, he's only got 3 laps remaining to seal the deal here in Austria. And this track has certainly delivered some spectacular, let's say, competition and incident. Although the racing hasn't been too bad, we've certainly seen some interesting racing. Some good wheel-to-wheel action from John Donkel and indeed Damie Hartman as well. Equally, Marcel France. We've seen quite a lot of wheel-to-wheel action there as well. Although some, unfortunately, could be questionable. Time will tell, and when the stewards have a look at it. But Damie Hartman for Haas in the lead. He's only got 2 laps remaining for the end of this race. And surely 2 laps, keep it straight, keep it safe, get the points. John Donkel, equally the same for Force India in 2nd place. Boy Williamson, Haas driver in 3rd place. As I say, Haas really will be picking up some exceptionally valuable points here, getting them that much closer to Ferrari. And indeed, Damie Hartman will take second place in the championships. Boy Williamson as well, let's not forget, will take fourth place in the Drivers' Championship. He'll be just ahead of Nicky Visser, and in fact 4 points ahead of Nicky Visser, so very, very close between fourth and fifth then on the drivers. That's will have penalty points to apply at the end of this race, and I'm not too sure how many Damie Hartman has. 3-second time penalty there for Marcel France. Damie Hartman now starting his final lap of this F1 tonight, 2018 race 8 here in Austria at the Red Bull Ring, catching up to Peter Phillips and Stan Drumkov, the rear of this pack. Blue flags surely being waved there. Yep, Damie comes through. He's now got Miguel Torni currently in fourth place ahead of him on the track. May not worry too much about overtaking him, obviously, at this sector as they come round 7. Little to be gained. He's on his final lap. No point in taking any unnecessary risk as he comes approaching the last but one turn. Round 10, and Damie Hartman takes the win in Austria. He does 5-second time penalty for unserved stop-go. Miguel Torni, 3-second time penalty. John Donkel comes in second. Boy Williamson, 3-second time penalty as well. He's coming in, taking provisional third. Mark Strappers takes 5th. Stan Drumkov takes 8th. Miguel Torni still a way to go for 4th. Oh dear, we've got the drivers stopping on the track there. We've still got other drivers going round. What is going on there? So John Donkel has stopped in the track. Don't know what's happened there. And also Stan Drumkov stopped on the track. We still had drivers racing there, so well, we'll see what happens. Martin Parder-Cooper, 5-second time penalty for unserved stop-go. Oh dear, oh dear, the end of the yeah, it's the end of the race. You can tell everyone's destroying their cars there, and John Donkel's actually gone into the barrier. Damie Hartman. So we will see the final results table come up in just the next few seconds. We hope you've enjoyed the race. As I say, it has been an eventful race, most certainly. Not one that we would necessarily put down in the Hall of Fame due to some unfortunate glitches from around about the start to the middle of the race, but they seem to resolve themselves. I was looking for those going all the way through to the end, but fortunately they didn't. So certainly eventful points, results to be had here, and if only in the real world of F1 the drivers could punish their cars at the end of the race and not suffer penalties from the team. It would probably be pretty good. So we are still waiting, it seems, for Peter Phillips to finish the race and conclude. He's certainly taking his time there. Peter Phillips in the McLaren picking up 9th place. So the final results now. There we have it. Haas. Well, fantastic result there for Damie Hartman. Picks up 1st place. John Donkel, great result there for Force India, picks up 2nd. And Boy Williamson for Haas takes third place. As I say, what does that mean in the championship table? Well, Damie Hartman takes second place in the Drivers' Championship. Haas remains second in the Constructors, but are now only a few points, well, 50 or so points behind Ferrari. So there we have it. Miguel Tourney takes fourth, Mark Stappers fifth, Martin Pardicoat for Red Bull sixth, Marcel France for Red Bull, Toro Rosso takes seven, Stan Drumkoff for Mercedes 8, 9 is Peter Phillips for McLaren, Zander Hermans, he will take provisional 10. Then we have Bas de Breen, Marcel Dronig, Nicky Visser, Ryan Dronig, Guido Airshine, all DNF'd. So what a result. We hope you've enjoyed the race. It certainly has been a very interesting race indeed. We look forward to seeing you next week and next Thursday evening. So next Thursday evening, please, please, please do join us for the next race, race 9 of the season. Good night, and we'll see you next week.